Hi everyone, I've got a quick tutorial for you today on how to create this pop-up easel box. Now I made this previously in a live video. I have now created a template for you and you can download this from my website. So I'm going to use the template today to show you how to cut all the pieces, how to fold and glue them together to create the box, and then you can put in any gift you want, whether it's jewellery, chocolates, maybe a little bit of a tipple, but you can make this for any genre, any occasion, and it's just really good fun and super easy. Now I'll make sure that my blog is linked in the description below, because this is where you're going to find that template download. It's a PDF and I would suggest printing it off at 100% scale if you can, and you do need to print off 2 pages of the first sheet. Okay, so let's get started. So this is what your template should look like, and I would definitely suggest, as I say, printing off 2 of this one, unless you use a repositionable spray adhesive as I do, and you can reuse these. Now, as you can see, I have got muddy paw prints on these because they fell out of the printer and the puppy walked over them. Typical, but never mind, you get the idea. So we have got a top for the wrap, a base for the wrap, some extras here, and 2 that's going to make up the box base. Really nice and simple. Now I have already chosen my colours and my cardstock. I have cut everything out previously so that it doesn't waste any time, but you'll see you've got a dotted line or a dashed line. Now these are score lines, so any solid line needs to be cut, any dotted line needs to be scored. I personally find the easiest way to score this is either in a scoreboard, or I also love to use a haberdashery tracing wheel. So it's one of these spiky wheels and a metal rule, and I simply go along and create my score lines like this. They're like perforations then, and hopefully you can just about see on the back. I'm not sure if you can on this one, but I've got tiny little dots. That makes for a really nice crisp score line then. So as you can see, I've got 2 of the box base. I have 2 of the wraps. Now one of these does have an aperture in that you need to cut out, and I suggest doing that with a craft knife. We have the mechanism, and then we have the piece at the top that is going to be your topper that you can put your sentiment on. So let's first of all build up the box base. So take any one of your 2 pieces, as I say they are identical, and you need to fold each of those score lines. Now these are all going to be valley folds as you hold this with the base sat down as it would be. So each and every one is going to fold upwards towards you. So just make the folds for now and burnish them with something like a bone folder just to make sure those creases are nice and strong. Okay, now the first thing to do is to glue the 2 pieces together by the squares. So take the 2 points that don't have any tabs on, and you're going to overlap those to make a stronger base with 2 layers and all the edges. Now by doing it this way you can fit everything onto A4, so I didn't have to worry about doing a template that you needed to follow the measurements for to go onto a larger piece of cardstock. Now the cardstock I'm using is around about 250 GSM. You can go heavier. I think the teal is more like a 350. That's quite a heavyweight cardstock, but if you go much lighter you're going to risk it bending and folding, warping and not holding strong. So making sure, now I've glued that down, that all the sides are going to lift up, and now I can start putting my tabs on, so building these sides up. So each of the tabs are slightly angled so they won't get caught up at all. So a little bit of wet glue, and I'm at the moment using Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue, but something like the CraftStash bookbinding glue would work equally as well. I would suggest a wet glue rather than a tape, because tape does have the tendency to, after a while, start to peel away again, even the strongest of tape. So a little bit of heat, or if it gets too cold, you can get that tackiness, just sort of, it loses it a little bit. So I'm going to use a wet glue, and for each of these corners for the tabs I'm going to do each one individually, take my time, and I'm going to hold each one for a good minute until that is really well adhered. So once all 4 corners are glued and well secured, you can then fold down these tabs here to just hide all the workings. Those tabs you've just glued will be completely hidden. So applying glue to the underneath, let's just fold these back so you can see where I'm working. I'm going to apply glue to here. I always do an outline first, just a few millimeters from the edge because it will squelch a little bit, and then a little in the middle as well. fold that over, and again hold that down just for a moment or two until that is really well adhered. So now you should have a good strong box base. Now just before we go on to the wrap, I'm going to add some decoration into the centre of this, because once it's in the wrap it's going to be a little bit harder, and I'm going to be using a paper which has come from the My Creative Life paper pack. This is linked in the description. It's absolutely beautiful. I really love it. It's got some gorgeous papers in here. This is designed by Katie Skilton. I've actually taken this paper here and built my entire colour scheme around it. So I've got the mustard colour, I've got the beautiful green teal, and the blacks and whites as well. We'll see more of that as we go through the decoration stage, but that, like I say, is linked down below. So I've taken this fantastic geometric looking piece that's just black and white, and I'm going to place this on the inside of the box just to line it. A little bit of decoration. I've cut it a little smaller than is needed. I'll give that a wiggle round for the base there. So happy with that. Now I can just pop this to the side for now. And now on to the wrap. So I'm going to take away the template. Now the template I stick down with a temporary spray adhesive, or repositionable spray adhesive, whichever you like to call it. Again, I've got my score lines in there, so they're really easy to fold. So I need to fold and just burnish them with a scoring tool. This tab is quite small, so it's up to you. If you'd like to actually make that a little bit deeper, you can do. And the wrap is very, very simple. You're simply going to adhere one of the small tabs to the edge where you've got your aperture, and then fold it round and do the same with the other one. So you're putting the two together in one long line. When you glue the second tab, the easiest way to do this is simply to fold everything in half with the tab folded under, and that should fall directly onto the end of the piece underneath. So you can fold that in half. Again, burnish it to make sure everything is nice and glued together really securely. And then when that has stuck, so I won't do it just yet, but in a moment I'll twist this and fold it along these two lines instead and burnish it once more. But that will be your wrap. There we go. So we've now got the wrap for our box. Again, for decoration, I have got a piece of pattern paper. I can put this on right now because this part is ready. The top part is ready to be decorated. So keeping with those beautiful patterned papers from the Katie Skilton My Creative Life pack. There we go, that fits absolutely beautifully. Now just check that your box does fit inside your wrap. If you follow the template, that should fit absolutely perfectly. So next we need to work with the mechanism, and for this I suggest you put the box halfway into the wrap. Make a note of where the back of the mechanism is, which end that is. So with this laid flat, the back piece needs to fold downwards. So that's a mountain fold. The middle line needs to also fold downwards. So again, that's a mountain fold. And the little line at the top of the front, that needs to fold upwards. So that's a valley fold. So you should have something that looks like this. Now this piece is going to glue to the reverse, the back of the drawer. We'll call it a drawer now, or the box. So some glue on there, slot that into the middle of your space on the top and onto the back of the drawer. If you can get something inside your drawer to press against your finger, that's helpful, but do make sure that sits completely central to the aperture that you've cut out. Slide that back just to make sure that that fits the space perfectly without coming away. And when that's secured, you can then glue just this tab to the underneath of this lip. So I'm going to put glue on here. I'm going to pull my drawer quite far forward, tuck it underneath, and then use my fingers to pinch that. Again, making sure it's central to the aperture. And pinch that together just for a moment until that is nicely dry and secure. And then once more, you can close, and that should tuck underneath just like so, and flatten and then when you lift up, you should have the easel there. So definitely allow that to dry a little bit longer than I have at the moment. Once that's completely dry, we can start doing the next stage. So the next piece is a topper, and this is going to sit and cover up your workings, but then lift up to reveal as you open the drawer. So for this, I have got myself a piece of cardstock cut from the template. I have then cut myself a topper for this, so a mat and layer, so you can measure and cut your own one if that's what you want to do. So this is going to sit in the middle of this green panel. I have got a sentiment, and the sentiment has come from the It's Just Paper Thankful die set. Again, I'll link this down below. Everything I've used, I will make sure it's linked. And then I've also used a piece of lacy wreath, and this one comes from the Textures Layering Lace Floral collection. So they, again, like I say, all linked down below. So I'm going to put the lacy wreath there, or part of it, so it overlaps the design. Now what you don't want to do is have anything overlapping the base line. It can overlap the sides and the top, but not the base. So that's the only stipulation. So I'm going to apply my glue to more of the central part of the flower, keeping this away from that bottom edge or level with it. And then I've also got my sentiment that I've cut from colours that are all coordinating with the rest of the design. So I've got the mustard colour in the background, and then black and white for the sentiment, all raised up onto foam as well. So there's my topper, nice and simple and easy. And I'm going to glue this part here of my mechanism, so just this front part here, making sure that no glue gets anywhere else. So certainly don't want to get any glue onto the surrounding box. So plenty of glue there. And then I'm going to lift this up quite far forward, place my topper just on top, making it sure it's central, and I can pinch this together just like so. By pinching that together, I'm securing that. Then you can open your box halfway, get your fingers underneath and pinch again. And then once that's dry, you should be able to lay this completely flat, like so. Beautiful. And then lift up when the box opens. Okay, so just some last minute decorations here. I have cut the same pattern paper as I've got for the top, which I'm going to adhere onto the front and the sides, and also the reverse, because we need to cover up this green tab. And then I've found an old zip with a little bit of black leather. I'm going to use hot glue to secure this to the front once the paper's on there, so I can use that to pull the drawer open. So now that the drawer is complete, we can put in any treats we like. I like to go with chocolates, a little bottle of tipple. You could even put maybe some handmade jewellery in here perhaps. Let's squeeze in as many as we can, close the drawer up. That lays flat, so absolutely beautiful. It's a really strong, sturdy box as well. You don't have to have your element, your decoration overlapping the box if you don't want to, but I don't see a problem with it. And then it all opens out. You could even put another secret message inside here, and you have the reverse, or of course the base if you want to add an additional message somewhere. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you'll find that download really helpful. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy tutorials like this and if you'll be trying this out. Take care everybody, and I'll see you again very soon.